Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jim. Just watched a movie called Double Blind, and this had a US release in February of 2024. It's kind of credited as a 2023 film though, because of that weird loopholey thing where we release it to a film festival in one year and then it releases in the US the next year. I'm crediting it as a 2024 horror thriller called Double Blind, if I didn't mention that already yet. Um, it's about an experimental drug trial that goes awry. Not the bread, but it goes off the rails. The test subjects face a terrifying side effect. If you fall asleep, you die. Trapped in an isolated facility, panic ensues as they try to escape and somehow stay awake. Directed by Ian Hunt Duffy, written by Derek McGarrigle. I know I butchered that. Starring Miley Brady as Claire. She's the main character. And Pollyanna MacIntosh plays Dr. Burke. Pollyanna MacIntosh is going to be the most recognizable actor in this film. She was in The Walking Dead. She's been in a bunch of other movies. She has a very noticeable appearance. Then we have all of these secondary characters that are in this little trial group. Not really going to go into a bunch of detail about them because there's a handful of them. So I was drawn to this movie on the premise of a drug trial because back when the pandemic hit, a lot of cities with major hospitals were conducting trials for a vaccination for the COVID. And I participated in that. I had some time off from work and I decided, let's go get shot up with something that you don't know what it'll do to you and you get paid for it. And I thought that that was just an exhilarating experience. And I got paid to help create the vaccine for COVID. Go me, yay. Yeah, so that's kind of where I have like a relatable kind of personal attachment to this film. This was the secret double blind experiment, which is where the title comes from. And the group that is involved in the trial actually have to stay at the facility. And this is at Blackwood Pharmacies. And we get like a brief introduction to all the characters. Meg is basically there because she's down on her luck. She has a sick mother in the hospital. She is looking to make a quick buck. And sometimes that's how these trials work out. That's how people sign up for these trials, is because they're just trying to get the money side of it. And I'm not going to lie, when I did my trial too, I'd like to say that it was because I felt like doing my humanitarian service to the world, helping create the vaccine. But it really was because I wanted the money, just bottom line. And I wanted to see what would happen. I was so thoroughly intrigued what would happen to take part in a drug trial. And people thought I was nuts. Coworkers, they were like, I can't believe you're doing this. And I was like, what are you going to, what happens? Anyways, you got to sign a lot of forms that say you won't sue if anything happens, by the way. So if you're thinking about doing a drug trial, read the fine print of all that paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork. So 15 minutes in, we're already getting like these intense things going on. Very suspicious. Pollyanna's character, Dr. Burke, she's very sus, but it ends up turning out that she's not really someone to be suspicious about. We do get a character later on in the group that everybody starts to suspect, but it's really the Blackwood Pharmacy Corporation. They are pushing Dr. Burke to ignore the warning signs of things that are happening already just very quickly into the trial, and let's amp up the trial. Let's go to the next level. And they offer more money to the group to keep participating. And what ends up happening is they're having side effects and people start to drop, and it creates a real big, scary situation. And they determine that they can't sleep. So the pharmacy, Blackwood Pharmacy tells Dr. Burke, offer them more money, tweak it a little bit, give them a higher dose even, and let's just see what happens. They determine they can't go to sleep. That's the one catalyst that definitely lets this drug take over your insides and do whatever it does. And then the facility gets put on a lockdown, which creates an even more intense situation for them because now they're trying to stay awake. They can't escape even if they wanted to because they're locked down, and it was a major lockdown. Um, Dr. Burke, her character doesn't necessarily last very long in this scenario. There's a lot of real good imagery of like psychosis taking place in a lot of the participants' heads. Sleep deprivation is a big thing. If you've ever had insomnia or you've ever had to stay awake for an extended period of time, movies do an interesting job of kind of amping up what sleep deprivation really does. But I've been in situations where I've stayed up for a couple of days in a row due to stress or whatever, just to see if I could do it, or doing some event somewhere and you had to stay awake. And like sleep deprivation is a real thing. Hallucinating, what's real, what's not real, who can you trust, and all that. There is a character in the group who happens to be a medical student. And because he's able to speak knowledgeably about side effects that are happening with the group starts to suspect, is he a plant? Like, is he a part of the trial, or is he put here to continue to observe us, um, or whatever? So there's a big split in the group. Like, who do we trust? Who's whatever? The med student guy, he's trying to like come up with solutions, like how can we live long enough for the lockdown to expire, because it's like a 24-hour lockdown. We get this big digital clock in the one general uh, area in the facility that they're locked into, like with this clock ticking down, like we're this much closer to the lockdown being over. And yeah, so the group just kind of drops one by one as we go. Very tense situations. Lockdown gets over. Blackwood Pharmacy sends in a cleanup crew, so to speak. And yeah, it's just really, really intense. It's really good. Again, it's kind of like, I like movies where it's like, what would you do in this situation? Uh, Really, it's focusing on Claire's journey. She's having regrets that she didn't have a closer relationship with her mom, and uh, a few times some of the characters use their smartphones to record messages and things like that. So that's kind of an interesting side angle to this. Um, yeah, so it's definitely worth checking out. I I don't remember where I watched this. I'm sure it's on Amazon or Vudu or something like that. It gets really crazy. The ending is really interesting too. I like how Claire um, took some very proactive actions to get herself escaped. But can you ever escape? I don't know. Um, so yeah, Double Blind. It's available now. It's a new film, February 2024. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts if you've seen this or if it's something that you're interested in. Have you ever participated in a drug trial like I did? I would love to hear those stories actually too. So have a great day. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Have a great day.
Row 18, plot 20.